Hey guys, um, I hope everybody is doing well. Good morning. Good Monday morning. Um, but I'm here, so I'm doing a live this morning to do a Q&A with Thor. Thor wants to be asked questions about certain things, so I'll be kind of coming up with questions that he's able to answer through obviously not communicating like a person, but his own way of communicating. But I'll do that until he comes back up on the couch. But I wanted to talk to you a lot about so there was a reason why I was talking about a Marvel character that I like yesterday, because it doesn't just involve a brotherhood, but it also involves what a fallout is fictionally, and also what it means to be an outsider, what it means to be the son of an outsider, and does it, and really does it make you an outsider? And I will say early on in my life, and obviously when you get older, you start to really understand your family, at least who you have or you're close to in your family. Now, for me, a lot of people say you should be lucky that you have two families that are not connected. That you've got a family on your dad's side, and you've got a family on your mom's side of the family. People often say that is extremely lucky. I say families are families and they stick together. But one of the things is as I've found in life, is that it's the people in the family circulum. Not because I don't love my family, not because there is family I feel safe with rather than others. Um, I know who my supports are in my family, and I know those who right now are struggling, and they just don't care. But family, that's one of the things, is family, as we all know, make comebacks. Meaning that when you're in a family and and you can catch it, you can turn your life around for the good. Washing away anything, your criminal record, washing away what you use as a coping strategy that you may know is unhealthy. Um, but there is many things, many actions that you can take, many directions that you can take that can bring you from, and I would say this works not just in family circulums, but it also works in friendship circulums and relationship circulums. So I encourage everybody on planet Earth to do that. If you don't want to hear people out, do due to this is what is required, or required for school, required for your job, and you don't follow it, there is consequences that lead to that. And everybody knows that. But one of the things in life I've learned is that it's not too late to learn from those who are much older than you, but to keep in mind to teach those who are younger than you. I mean, that comes along with responsibilities. It comes along with really knowing where to pinpoint each section of your journey of becoming a girl to a woman, or a boy to a man. But being an outsider, unfortunately, comes with a lot of things that can be challenging. I mean, being the son of an outsider, being even because for me, my dad, he's adopted, and that's the thing. Hunter was the adopted son of T'Chaka. I used to believe that no good families really ever existed. And it wasn't so much belief, it was like learning about my family. And, they talk about abuse, they talk about what happened to them as kids. I got none of that. And the only people that can determine whether you will make it in life, or really you need to think about that you will and act on things due for you to make it through life. Whether it's to take care of people at times to do so, and people are saying to you, that you should only worry about yourself. That person can, but nobody has the heart inside you internally, because that is your heart. That is your way of how your internal energy reacts. Yes, there is times where you may not be able at help to help people all the time. Honestly, I wish I had more of the breaks than, but I have a family member right now that is, I mean, and I live with her, and I would say I would say it bothers me every day when her needs are not always met. She wants something, as I said, she wants a particular person to contact her. I always state to her, I said, don't reach out to them, because if you think about it, That's what you've always done, is reaching out to people. It's time, since they know that you've dealt with so much, the stroke, the cancer, they should start calling you. And what's really I would say, I've had family members text me if they can't get a hold of her, of my mom, and I said, and I do tell family members straight up, and I'm very straightforward about it. But I say, because I know sometimes my aunt will text me while I'm at program because she can't get a hold of my mom, and that's many things. And I told her one day, I said, I'm sorry I didn't get back to your text right away. I was at my music program. Um, and she had wanted my mom to text her or call her back, and I told her I would have her call you back when we get home. But it's really hard when you have something currently going on and you're needed elsewhere, to where your family reaches out to you stating that, their own sibling is busy doing, it's like well, and I don't even remember if my dad was working that day. I don't think he was, but there could have been other ways it could have been handled. But as I said, I never get angry with stuff like that, because let's just say people that are in their 20s should never get upset with people that are much older, because and the thing is, I make sure my mom has her ringer on, and she has a ringtone that she can hear if people try to call her. Um, but one of the things is, when you are an outsider, you have the responsibility of making sure those in your family are supported, they don't get hurt, but also keeping an eye out for your own. But for me, it's my family, because my family at this point is going down. I hate to say it, but if those who can't provide for themselves, do I want to feel upset that my family can't take care of themselves? Absolutely. I have a reaction of that. If you can't take care of yourself, like, I want to jump in and help. That's one of my instinctual responses, is if I know somebody is beating up a family member or telling them do this, do that. First of all, they need to help themselves, and family is always going to be there to support that. It is good, though, to have medical insurance, but right now, unfortunately, those who don't have it may not ever get it, due to where that money is going for those who want to register to get medical care. It is getting sent over to other billionaires across the country due to our fraud based president. I tell many people to carry on, and I'm gonna keep saying it again. We live in a non-lovable nation right now. I don't think anybody has the right to be shushed or to be told to be quiet if they have something to say. Not, I will say, it's good to have people talk, after you just, talk about what you want to say. Or if people are interested in what as I said, of how something was for you, what your experience was, that's awesome. That's great. They're asking about what you did, where you went, where you traveled, that's good. But you should still let that person speak about their experience. But I can't, I mean, as I said, this nation right now is not lovable. And as Robert De Niro had said in the First Amendment rally, he said, the nation is unlovable. It's basically stating that somebody's spouse says they love their abuser, their abusive husband or their abusive boyfriend. Or it could, I mean, you could even say it's like somebody in your family loving an abusive family member. And the fact that a lot of things people are not telling federal courts, that are hiding it, that are covering shit up, cut the bullshit and say what is truth, say what is non-fictional. That's my only advice to anybody. And and stop hiding the information, show it. I would say I kind of want to have the same approach with somebody who bullies me. Is that I understand, because the thing is, if you're stating to yourself, like, when you're picking on somebody, whether is smart or not smart, or they could have a disability, right? It could be anything due to their looks, due to how they act. Here's what I say about that is that you can either listen to somebody who knows what it's like to feel like they're not smart, and find out ways you can further enhance your intelligence through going out there experiencing real life. But being careful of what you do. Be a kid, have fun. Learn we learn from those who have learned from their elders. And those are the paths I think kids should take, is learning from those much older than them. It's it's the movement of adapting to those who lived before us. Thor, Thor, you wanna come up? Come on. You wanna do your Q&A right now? Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Roof. Roof. Oh, do you want to get a Thor? Come on. I'll get you something special. Come here. Can we do your Q&A? Thor. Are you not wanting to do one right now? You can just communicate that with Dad with a bark. Can you go... Thor? Can you... speak? Yeah. He's giving me signs that he's like, later, Dad. But as I said, like, I will say for me, being really just kind of feeling like an outsider, not, you know, hearing what family had to say about like other family, you know, especially your parents liking others more than, it's very defeating. And it can be, but you grow out of it to the extent where it's like, okay. And you're not at fault for having to change that. It's somebody's perspective over somebody they like more. That's all it is. But I will say I fully I fully believe that people can either like somebody but sometimes it's based off of like worth ethic. They get a job right away. They Others have to be patient. Others have to be ready to do something even if they're not ready to do it. And that's many of the things I feel that have come to me in life is that when somebody likes a hard worker, the hard worker part of it comes from they have a job right away with no trouble. But when you don't know what something is, or know what a disability is, or a certain kind of disability, ask a person who has it. They're going to tell you. But I always often get asked, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? I said, there is nothing wrong with me. Do I want to lash out in anger stating to somebody, what's wrong with you? Absolutely. But if I give that energy to that person, then it wouldn't be helping myself. I would be adding more to the pot, where I'm like, okay, there's nothing wrong with me. But here's where I kind of like fix and say to myself, what would you have me do to have you not state that to me of what is wrong with me? Basically stating to that person, if there's something so wrong with me, can you tell me what it is? Or if I'm not doing something correctly, you can point that out and I'll make sure I do it correctly. But I hate to say it, there the terminology between bad people and bad behavior, that is one of the two things in life I never understood. Did I believe it? I really believed, because people are going to state to you there's bad people in this world. My question is, well, if they're bad people, why why are the doors open to them? I have no control over anybody's behavior. But when I think of somebody who's bad, or at least a bad person, it's clearly an indication of staying away from that person, like danger, danger, don't do it. But I often hear about it a lot with behaviors people have commit, crimes. Stay away from this person because they did this kind of crime. And I hear that a lot with family members. You don't know what people are going through unless you know them on a personal level. But there's going to be times where you might know somebody on a personal level and they're either living, they're either far away distant wise from you, or live far away, or they live close to you, and you know them personally. But are there days where you don't spend time with them because maybe that's when they produce that bad behavior? And for me, it's not so much a belief system that I will say I'm gonna deny there's bad people out there, because we categorize bad behaviors as so being bad people, and those are two different things to break up. Because again, we categorize somebody as being a bad person, we're thinking about their behaviors. That is an instinctual thought. And it's reality. Those who do not like Trump, those who do not like anybody who's political, they don't like him because of their actions. Fraud is an action. Scamming somebody is an action. Because I know from experience, nobody in a family circle, in a friendship circle, any kind of social circles would want to be with somebody who hurts them. Now, hurt is a behavior. Can it be learned somewhere else through trauma? It can. Absolutely. But I remember Kendra, my old case manager, she was the one that told me, she said, out in this world there is bad people. I said, and this is what I said to her. I said, are you, it's, this is when she kind of fell silent. I said, well, it's the behaviors with these people. It's what they do that you don't like. Because we don't know them. But that's the key. You don't know them. You don't know what somebody is capable of doing and how they're going to do it. But I actually am thinking about doing a speech at the Pride Festival, which I am going to ask Eric about on Wednesday. Because I didn't do a speech at my own. So this is a true story. But I didn't do a speech at my own graduation, but I did them for all the rest of them. The thing is, actions are are what what makes consequences, or are what makes consequences a reality. Because whenever I hear somebody stating, "Oh, this person's bad," I want to go up and correct that person and say, "You don't like their behavior, and you know you can walk away. Why aren't you walking away, or why are you not? Why are you even engaging?" If somebody chooses to have bad behavior, you can't stop it. We want to give people second chances. Honestly, I I I mean, I will say, and usually when I want to know, or at least not so much when I want to know, but if anybody is open, like my significant other, she recently started opening up to me about her family. And I think me just sitting there and listening to what she has to say, for me, it's one of the most beautiful things. And I will state it because the 4 years her and I indeed have been with each other, I've always opened up to her about my family. And that was one of the biggest things I feel like I had to work on within myself, is that I always brought up issues with my family. But ever since before she left for Ireland, she started to be, and you can easily, not so much easily, but when somebody is ready to speak about struggles with their family, you just have to listen. You have to be the listener, not the interrupter, not the person who's rushing in to say something. But and I'm always, and if she doesn't feel comfortable sharing something, she knows I would not force her, I would not push her to do that. As I said, freedom of speech. Everybody deserves to be listened to, and everybody deserves to be respected on every single level. And when I hear about bad people, bad people, bad people, same thing with the young man who shot Charlie Kirk. That's the thing. Is, again, young man, 3 years younger than me. He had murderous behavior. That's what resulted. And the actions he took, the note that was written before he went to the event, because that's the thing, there was a threat there was a message behind the murderous behavior from this young man. It's hard not to get involved in something that you're not part of. But again, I can only speak for myself. And when I know something, I know something. And that is when we label something as bad. When we label somebody as bad, it's their behaviors that we do not like, that we do not tolerate. Is there consequences? Absolutely. But in order to live a life with solitude and peace, we learn by our actions, always. We learn about how we speak and how we present of how we speak.